I'm Vaishnavi, and now I'd like to present you a write-up on the topic Role of Adiponectin and Leptin in Diminishing Insulin Resistance. A family history, a chemical mystery, or a diet and an exercise chemistry. Anything may today bring a person down from being healthy. And diabetes mellitus is the most common one. More commonly, type 2 diabetes mellitus, which is letting millions of people down, either due to their sedentary lifestyle or inheritance. Globally, as of 2010, an estimated 285 million people have type 2 diabetes, making 90% of all diabetic cases. And there are several other deleterious complications that maybe throw spotlight over this aspect, like diabetic ketoacidosis, diabetic neuropathy, nephropathy, atherosclerosis, etc. On clinical reference to many evidences, research papers, it has been noticed that obesity stands as the most important contributor in increasing insulin resistance, consequently diabetes type 2 mellitus too. And this means that insulin resistance increase is associated with the accumulation of body fat, that is skeletal muscle lipid oversupply. Adiponectin. Adiponectin is a protein hormone that modulates various metabolic processes, including glucose regulation and fatty acid catabolism. Adiponectin is exclusively secreted by the adipose tissue into the bloodstream, where it is very abundant in plasma relative to many hormones. The levels of adiponectin are inversely correlated to the body fat percentage in adults. Transgenic mice with high adiponectin levels show impaired adipocyte differentiation and high energy expenditure along with protein uncoupling. Adiponectin in the bloodstreams, where it almost approximately accounts for 0.01%, around at 5 to 10 microgram per milliliter. The levels of adiponectin are generally reduced in diabetics as compared to non-diabetics. Weight reduction significantly increases their circulating levels. Adiponectin automatically self-associate into larger molecules. Initially, 3 molecules of adiponectin combine to form a homotrimer. These homotrimer further self-associate to form hexamers and dodecamers. Adiponectin is a protein hormone that has positive metabolic effects like enhancing fatty acid oxidation and glucose utilization in muscle and adipose tissue, as well as in inhibiting gluconeogenesis in liver, where these are associated with the activation of AMPK1/4 in muscle and liver and the activation of nuclear factor kinase B in muscle cells. AMPK, when activated by adiponectin, phosphorylates and inactivates acyl-CoA carboxylase, that is ACC, which is the enzyme that catalyzes the formation of malonyl CoA. Malonyl CoA is a substrate for the fatty acid biosynthesis and inhibits fatty acid oxidation. AMPK activation by adiponectin results in inhibition of fatty acids and triglyceride synthesis and stimulation of fatty acid beta oxidation. AMPK phosphorylates IRS1, which correlates with a 65% increase in insulin-stimulated PL3 activity. And since AMPK activates APKC, which plays a positive role in glucose transport. Adiponectin also increases PPAR gamma ligand activity. Fatty acids plus coenzyme A plus ADP give fatty acyl CoA and 5-AMP and 2-inorganic phosphate, which would then activate AMPK. Leptin. Leptin is an adipose-derived protein hormone that plays a key role in regulating energy intake and energy expenditure, including metabolism and appetite. It promotes the appetite suppressants like alpha-MSH and lowers the hunger. It acts directly on the skeletal muscle and liver cells, where it stimulates the fatty acid oxidation and reduces the fat storage within the non-adipose areas. Low levels of leptin lead to uncontrolled food intake and result in obesity. But obese people have high levels of leptin and are consequently resistant to it. Leptin may increase the glucose uptake by the skeletal muscle and decrease the hepatic glucose production, and also prevent against the adverse effects of fat accumulation within the non-adipose cells. Metroleptin. Metroleptin is an analog of human leptin. This, when taken, does not alter the body weight but significantly decreases the glycated hemoglobin, that is HbA1c levels. ER stress and saturable nature of the leptin pathways play a crucial role in development of leptin tolerance among the obese diabetics. Role of leptin in AMPK activation. Leptin stimulates the phosphorylation and activation of alpha-2 catalytic subunit of AMPK in skeletal muscle, thus establishing signaling pathway for leptin. In parallel with its activation of AMPK, leptin suppresses the activation of ACC, thereby stimulating the oxidation of fatty acids in muscle. AMPK activation inhibits the phosphorylation of ACC, stimulated by leptin. Cationic hydroxyethyl cellulose. It sensitizes the body to leptin, resulting from reduced fat absorption, especially in the obese subjects where they have high amounts of leptin but are resistant to it. It significantly decreases the mesenteric adipose and liver weights and improves glucose homeostasis and makes the cells insulin sensitive. PPAR gamma. It regulates the fat storage and glucose metabolism and stimulates the lipid uptake and adiponeogenesis. It is well known for lowering the serum glucose without increasing insulin secretion. Conjugate linoleic acids. They play a crucial role in activating the nuclear receptor peroxisome proliferator activated receptor gamma, PPAR gamma, which significantly increases the adiponectin levels. They're known for its weight management characteristics like reducing body fat and increasing lean muscle mass and helping in increasing the resting metabolic states. Chlorogenic acid. It delays the intestinal glucose absorption and inhibits gluconeogenesis. It activates AKT and boosts the AMPK activity. It also increases the glucose transporter 4 translocation. Amylose-resistant starch corn. This effectively maintains the beta cell's mass and increases the insulin sensitivity. But it only seems to prevent IR but not effectively reverse the IR. So, through analysis of multivariate research papers and studies, it can be hypotheses that the combination of both adiponectin and leptin would completely reverse the insulin resistance syndrome. The combination of adiponectin and leptin would double the effects and activity of AMPK rather alone, and it may inhibit the activity of ACC to a better potential. And the addition of these substances that lead to insulin sensitivity and some other new substances, if discovered, to the existing IR and type 2 diabetes mellitus drugs would give rise to a completely new drug or a better drug, better medication for the people who are suffering for this and to get away from this deadly metabolic syndrome. And this would help many people, that is 285 million people are said, from getting away from this obesity and diabetes type 2 mellitus. So the change is in our hands. Let's do for the good.